Nyo-ho, guess who it is? It's Ian Gibbs, and welcome back to my ability comparison series. As of uploading this video, the anime adaptation for JoJo Part 7, Steel Ball Run, has started airing on Netflix to massive fanfare. Hopefully. This is Netflix we're talking about, so I don't know. So for all the JoJo fans who indulge in this channel, myself included, I'm commemorating this momentous occasion the only way I know how, with an ability comparison on Gyro Sapelli's Spin in A Universal Time and Your Bizarre Adventure. I'm doing Spin first and not Pink Fridge or Presidential Bunny because Steel Ball Run. A lot of people overlook that. I'm also covering YBA instead of Sakura Stand for this one because while Sakura Stand actually does have a spin spec, I received a lot of smack the last time I compared AUT's casual dev team efforts against a single person's ancient design, so better safe than sorry. Blame the commenters who I appreciate leaving suggestions for future ability comparisons. That video was their fault. Anyways, the spin abilities of AUT and YBA will be judged on how flamboyant they throw their balls and how deep they hit their intended targets too. I can tell YouTube is not going to enjoy this video, so why don't you help me out by subscribing to my channel and watching my other videos. Alright, first up... And that's AUT's Spin. The belt's a cool touch. So first and foremost, these are some nice looking balls. No, but seriously, I like the aggressive style these developers went with for Gyro's animations. It all just feels in character while having that universal twist trademark of charm. I presume Mr. Sapelli got tired of all the below-the-belt comments. I will say that the visual effects are nothing too extreme. Not that I'm suggesting it all looks underwhelming. Energy Burst is a personal favorite of mine. But Iron Lung, or Flux, my bad. Great movie, by the way. Could use some more oomph in the whirlwind of Rotary Havoc.
Kids, I'll get you for what you did to my set!
It could look better in my opinion. I've been to Arizona. Dust Devils don't look that sharp. Well, at least Ball Breaker makes an appearance in this moveset. Look at the little guy. For all the anime-only JoJo fans, yes, Gyro has a stand. He uses it to cast Testicular Torsion on Diavolo as one of his many deaths, while Speedwagon stays cool like he always does. Entirely canon series of events. And gameplay. For starters, this is a moveset with a real fleshed-out use of the meter system. A proportional damage buff based on percentage and some armor health for when you reach 100% at the cost of the majority of moves requiring meter. If that compromise isn't cash money, there's a meter charge move to top it all off.
Was one not enough?
Side note, the armor health passive was formerly a duration of hyper armor against any incoming attacks. Yeah, I really should make a video ranking all the busted day 1 AUT gimmicks, tier list style, maybe with a VTuber model to go along with it. I'm getting off topic here. So it's a given that Spin here prioritizes projectiles, which have some decent stun properties, but there's also some stat buffs, a heavy hitting AoE, a rather suggestive grab, and a rush down beatdown. Actually, I've never really been a big fan of these attacks that have you run with greater chances of whiffing, because alongside Spin's lingering startups on par with AUT's situational combat pledge, these moves are essentially only as good as your ability to aim a shot in an FPS. Movement has been a strong tool in AUT since the combat rework, so that's fun. Now I know there will be some commenters who will mention AUT's aim lock mechanic, oblivious to the fact that
that's for communists.
But then there's the scan move. No. Not only do you deal more damage to a scanned opponent, but all of your ragdolling moves gain soft ragdoll properties. So it's basically warlike flashbacks to Crazy Diamond just with an extra step. But that's about the height of it. You're basically riding high on the time you get to abuse Spin's meter passes and scan. The rest of the time you're just throwing a bunch of moves out until you overwhelm your opponent or die. I'm probably biased on this take, considering my control group was a Ryoki trait Merc player, and I get that I could just hop onto 1v1s for a more accurate and balanced experiment, but again...
That's for communists.
To summarize, AUT Spin is a satisfactory ability. It both looks good and feels good to play with, but it also has its limitations if soft ragdoll being locked behind scan hints at anything. However, I'm able to see how Spin here can be a strong moveset with more strategic utilization than what I currently have, so I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, next up. And that's YBA Spin. Not gonna lie, you could probably blink and miss me covering this entire moveset because this isn't much. However, I'm being less strict on the matter due to Spin being a YBA sub-power, for so attacks that mostly exist to enhance stand powers. We've been here. Despite this, Spin still packs a hefty punch, quite literally. The extensive particle design of the VFX and how the sound design emphasizes ricocheting stimulates a special kind of adrenaline for me. Say what you will about YBA, but they know how to give moves some weight. But other than a lack of moves, the moves are kind of dull in inspiration. The animations actually have a significant liveliness to them. You're definitely balling the balls here, but something's wrong if 50% of your attacks are just simply throwing your weapon with nothing afterwards. 2 if you're feeling frisky. In other words, it's a basic Spin moveset in terms of visuals. So the last time I covered a YBA sub-power, or free actually, because I'm stupid, I mentioned how the moves had poor coordination with their respective movesets and were mostly driven by strong passives. Spin kinda has the opposite situation in my opinion. Sure, any damage and defense buffs from Golden Spin and Skin accordingly are good, but let me just say that these are probably some of the best projectiles I've seen in a Roblox JoJo game. They're fast, smooth to aim, and can actually combo extend from each other with little effort. Even whirling Steel Ball, decent AoE from an easy to land projectile, is insane. Also, Twisting Spin Punch is able to debuff an opponent's stamina on top of being a literal jump scare, playing the part I suppose. The crazy part about this moveset is how the majority of this is from projectiles, so you're able to delete some low-life vermin's health while respecting their personal space. Speaking of respect, sub-powers like Spin are meant to complement bigger abilities with success depending on the sub-powers themselves. Anything is complimentary if you're able to throw it. In fact, I got some footage of me using Spin with a fairly well-rounded stand, Star Platinum the World. Now, I'm not a professional, but that still looks pretty cool. Also, Star Platinum the World ability comparison win. But back to the moveset itself, YBA Spin is a definitive step up from the Hammonds I judged previously. I really do appreciate how not only the presentation is fluid and impactful, but the playstyle is actually coherent and not overly reliant on sovereign attack properties. However, the actual scale of this moveset still should be accounted for, so I'll give YBA a 9 out of 10 also. Wait a minute. This means we've achieved the first tie in ability comparison history. Both AUT and YBA have the definitive versions of Spin. AUT for visual finesse, but YBA for powerful utility. But I know how my almost 1,000 subscribers are, so how about we break this tie with the Spin?